Elizabeth, gorgeous, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Lovely to see you. Let me just let Becca in. Lovely. I'm so dying to have a catch up with you, Elizabeth. So, hope you're doing okay. Okay. So, let me take a moment to welcome everyone. Don't be offended. I'm going to put you all on mute just to minimize the risk of background noise. Okay, let me check in with the comments and welcome everyone. So Elizabeth, beautiful, gorgeous to see you, as I've already said. Louise, lovely, hope you are doing well. Sarah, lovely, gorgeous to have you here. Hope you're doing well. Julie, fabulous to see you. You know what I mean. Not see you, see you. Lovely to have you here. Leanne, welcome. I hope you're doing well, lovely. Nah, beautiful name. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Val, gorgeous to see you here. Hope you're doing well, lovely. I need to mix this up a bit, don't I? Becca, gorgeous. So glad you're here. I can't think of anything else to say. We'll see. And Karen, beautiful, lovely to see you. Hope you are doing well. Love that color on you. Gorgeous. One of my favorite colors, that beautiful wine color. It's like a winey pinky purple. Love it. As you can probably tell from my hair. So Karen, you feel as if you're coming out of a deep pit. Yeah, eclipse season. Anyone else found that a bit of a... We were saying actually in the membership, there was a few of us feeling a bit battered by it this year. A little bit like it really took its toll. But, you know, deep breath. Hopefully we've cleared a few slates. I feel like my energy's just coming back and I'm loving it. I don't know about you, but I'm loving that feeling of a fresh start, clean start. Evening, Becca. I should have said evening, shouldn't I? That would have mixed it up a bit. Leanne, you're feeling a bit flat today, but just had a nice bath. Do you know, it's amazing what a good bath can do. I always say this to my husband and he just laughs at me. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed listening to the podcast. Awesome. Yes, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I've had a good day. Busy day, but good day. Productive day. I'm naturally quite a fiery lady in my Ayurvedic makeup, which means that I absolutely love productivity to the point that it makes me ill. So I need to try not to get too in that flow. Oh, Elizabeth, tech problems. Yeah. Oh, Louise, welcome, lovely. Yeah, Val, I hear you. Yeah, it's really feeling it. That temperature's dropped, right? My daughter was just saying when she went to work, she said, I couldn't even walk from the car to the office without having my coat on this morning. So we're definitely feeling it now, aren't we? Yeah. Yes, I am a pitta lady, Lou. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Becca. Oh, let me let Dawn in. There we go. And then we'll dive into our practice for tonight. And just to say, if you haven't been to one of our Reiki circles, welcome, Dawn, lovely, gorgeous to see you. If you haven't been to one of our Reiki circles before, I'll give you a little bit of an overview of how it works. I will guide us through a practice that we can do together. And tonight's theme, we're looking at gratitude. Well, we're not looking at gratitude. We're allowing ourselves to feel it. We're allowing it to break open that heart a little bit, to create a bit of space in this heart chakra. I've actually got a heart chakra playlist on in the background. So we've got that added medicine coming from the frequencies. And I don't want to patronize you guys. I think we all know, right, the benefits of gratitude now. Just some highlights for those of you that aren't so familiar. Olga, welcome. Gorgeous to see you. Lovely. So for those of you, well, for all of us, it's a brilliant reminder, right? So our brains are naturally wired to have a negativity bias, which is awesome for our development. It's awesome for our growth because we're always looking at the thing that we can improve on, that we can do better at, that could be, something in our life that could look better or feel better. So obviously that's a fabulous trait to have. However, it can sometimes rob us of the joy of what's going on here and now, and appreciating this phase of our life, or this time, this day, this hour, this minute. It can sometimes take us out of that perspective. So gratitude is obviously a really important practice, in my opinion, to have daily. It's also part of our Reiki precepts. It's something that was observed that we're better able to channel this Reiki energy or healing energy when we are operating from that heart open place. Now, what we need to be a little bit careful of as women, and I'm making a big assumption there, okay, but it is more prevalent in conditioning towards women, is often we can have a bit of resistance even to the word gratitude or grateful, because perhaps we were told way too often that we should just be grateful for what we've got. And it became this way to just diminish our dreams, or tell us that we were selfish for wanting more, or selfish for believing that more was possible even. And so often this idea of gratitude became this, a really not very nice way that we may have been conditioned to also not want for more. So I want to be really upfront that I believe they're two very separate things. I think you can be grateful and desire more. I love this now, and this is the next adventure, right? I love this now, and I want to improve these things. So that's the gratefulness that I hope we can tap into. And the other thing I just wanted to highlight around this, or remind us about around this, is that my experience of gratitude certainly is that it's an energy giver. So it allows more of that energy to flow as we open up that heart space. So what I mean by that is, it is so much easier to feel energized when you're already feeling quite positive about the experience you're having right now. So that's a really important point to remember. And the other point is, and we can direct that energy into that which we wish to improve. So that extra energy that gratitude opens up for us allows us to have more energy for that which we wish to manifest, whether we're doing that energetically or whether we're doing that in a really physical, really tangible way on this physical plane. So what's everyone's, okay, that's such a big question. Let me take that down a notch. Who has a gratitude practice in place? And if not, do you have an aversion to it? Does it remind you of being told that you should just be grateful? Or is there another aversion that comes up for you? I would love to know. before we dive in to the practice this evening, awesome, lovely to have you here, hun. Becca, you irregularly, I can't talk tonight. I irregularly, am I saying that right? It sounds really weird. I irregularly practice gratitude and want to do it more often. I have a daily diary with it, but it's actually better at night. I love that. Yeah. Beautiful. I'll tell you actually, I'll give a tip for those of you that struggle with gratitude lists. Let me catch up on your comments first. Dawn, you have a gratitude practice, but I do forget it and need to come back to it. You're human, lovely, right? Leanne, you too. Okay. Karen, you don't have a gratitude practice as such, but you often step back and quietly think about how grateful you are for various things. I love that. Yeah, that's beautiful. So I did want to give you a couple of tips on this for those that do want to practice gratitude a little bit more, because it is such a powerful practice, right? It makes you feel so much better about life, your days, what you want to do. I also find it makes me more loving. So like those times, so I have a gratitude practice at the end of my meditation. That's what I was going to share. I struggle with like gratitude lists because to me that puts me into my logical brain when I start writing lists. And gratitude is that feeling, right? So for me, what I do is I allow myself to feel it at the end of meditation. So I allow myself to just like think about all of the things and all of the people and all of the, for me, a lot of it is nature. You probably would have guessed from a lot of my meditations. But you know, I find nature magical, and I just feel really lucky to be on this planet and access to it. But oh gosh, where was I going with that? I completely went off track. Oh dear Lord. No, it's absolutely gone. Gratitude practice. Loving in relationships, right? It's all coming back to me now. So I find after my morning meditation, and I end with my gratitude practice where I allow it to just fill me up and take over every cell of my being. So I'm like just vibrating in this frequency of love. It feels really lovely, like this little bubble of love. I'll often find I'll go downstairs and have my cup of coffee, and I'm far more likely to like give my husband a big cuddle and a kiss than the days that I forget to do it. Do you know what I mean? Perhaps I do a shamanic journey instead or something. And then I think, oh yeah, gratitude really does improve relationships, doesn't it? You know, it makes a massive difference. Okay. So for this session tonight, actually, it might be quite nice to lay down. However, if you are the sort of person that tends to fall asleep quite quickly and you don't want to, I'm adding that on because if you don't mind falling asleep in the session and want me to just quietly turn the Zoom off at the end, I'm happy to do that. Then if you don't want to fall asleep, then sitting up can sometimes allow a bit more energy to flow, especially if we can keep a little bit of a kind of straight spine. It just kind of signals to the brain that we need to be alert, right? So, up to you, but I'm going to give you a moment to get settled, either sitting or laying down. And as you do that, I'm going to cleanse our space. And I'm just going to see actually if I missed anyone else's comments. Karen, you have a gratitude practice. Yeah, love that. Yeah, yeah, Louise. And we all have those times, right, where it feels like gratitude can be really hard to access because perhaps life is falling apart. Perhaps, I look back to some of the times that I've been through myself, and there were some times where it was like gratitude practice was like really scraping the barrel. But actually, in those times, like just a cup of tea, a sit down and a cup of tea felt amazing. Do you know what I mean? You can really sink into that sometimes. Or a blanket, or a book, or candles. These things are on my gratitude list at the moment. Loving autumn vibes. Okay, so I'm just going to cleanse our space. And as I'm doing that, I invite you to take a moment to consider, how do you want to feel as you're leaving this session? What intention are you putting out there for this session for you? Is there something you wish to put out there in terms of a little seed that's going to grow as the session unfolds? And as and when you feel ready, gently closing your eyes, and just initially bringing your awareness to that breath in the belly. And we're not trying to change the breath in any way. We're just gently bringing ourselves into the place of the witnesser. The part of us that can just observe without trying to fix or change or even heal. So allowing yourself to get really curious with this breath. How deep or shallow is it in this moment? How steady is the rhythm today? And remembering we're not trying to fix, change, judge, analyze. We're just noticing. And noticing, what's the physical body feeling like today? Again, we're not judging. We're not wishing it was something else. If there's heaviness or lightness, we're just observing. If it's feeling relaxed or tense, both are welcome. If there's pain or comfort, both are equally valuable. And just allowing yourself to observe. And you may find it helpful to scan from the top of the head through the mind, through the face, the jaw, the neck, into the shoulders, and noticing the left arm, and the right arm, the top of the back, the chest space, the middle back, the center of the body and belly, noticing that lower back and pelvic region. The left leg, and the right leg. And then shifting our awareness to the emotional body. Are the sensations loud or quiet here today? And again, we're not labeling any of these emotions or sensations as wrong or bad or not wanted. We're allowing space for them all to be seen. And we're going to shift our awareness up to that heart chakra now. And you may wish to place a hand on your heart space. And for those of you that already work with Reiki, I invite you to invite Reiki in your usual way, and allowing that Reiki to move from your palm into that heart chakra. For those of you that are not trained and attuned to Reiki, we're just going to imagine that coming through the crown of the head is a beautiful healing light. And you may feel that more as an energy. You may see it. It may have a color. Or you may experience very little. As before, both of these are welcome. And I invite you to imagine that healing light is coming down through the crown chakra into this heart space, running along the arms and into the palms. And as you hold your hand on this part of the body, you might find that you begin to feel tingling, a change in sensation, a change in temperature, or maybe none of these. But we're just going to give it a minute for that energy to begin to open up this heart space. And as it does its work, you can either focus on the sensations that you feel in your palm or in the heart, or maybe you find it easier to just focus on the breath and just allow yourself to be. And if at any point you feel called to shift your hand to another place, hand or hands, trust your instincts here, trust your intuition. You know exactly what you need. And we're going to aid the energy here by allowing our mind to consider that which we feel grateful for. And you may find it helpful to think about the people in your life, any pets. Oh, my little doggo cracks my heart open. Maybe those material things that give you a bit of a sense of safety. That home, that bed. For me, I am always grateful for my kettle. It works hard this time of year, especially. Being able to have a good cup of tea. Or maybe you find, like me, that nature opens up that heart space. When you look at the beautiful colors of the leaves at the moment, as they're just beginning to turn, and the fruit in the hedgerows, and the birds that are making the most of it. Maybe you're just grateful for the soothing soundtrack of the ocean, or the mossy smell of the forest on an autumn walk. Allow your mind to remember everything you have to be grateful for. Living in a time when we have so much access to things like housing and healthcare. A time where we can meet up from our own houses and experience Eastern practices together collectively. Maybe you're grateful for the other ladies in the room. For sharing this space with you, and maybe the connections you've made through our events. Maybe you're just grateful for Reiki and the teachers that have come before, that have passed this beautiful magical wisdom down. But as you contemplate, I invite you to see if you can allow that energy to build in that heart chakra. That feeling of, oh my gosh, how lucky am I? And as you are energy workers, We're going to see if we can allow that energy to expand and intensify just a little bit more, using nothing more than our intention. See if you can allow that gratitude to spread into the belly and into the throat. Can you allow that gratitude to travel up to the top of the head and down to the tips of your toes? Can you allow it to run down your arms, into your fingertips? And if at any point you lose connection to that feeling, that's fine. Just come back to that contemplation. What are those things that I'm so grateful for? When I'm not comparing myself to some invisible standard. When I'm not comparing me or my life to others. What are those little things that bring me joy, that bring me comfort, that expand my heart? And for this gratitude energy, it can be quite helpful to focus on the things that you also don't have a yeah but for. For now, we just want to allow that energy to be full and expansive. So often innocent things like nature, young babies, pets and animals, those little moments in your day, like getting into a nice cozy bed. Or your morning brew. And see if you can allow that feeling to expand into a beautiful bubble. A bubble around you. This bubble vibrating with love and appreciation. And if you find at any point the brain wishes to chime in with the yeah buts, that's fine. We don't fight it. We just keep our attention on that sensation of gratitude, of appreciation, and that bubble of love that we've created. And you may feel inclined to breathe a little bit deeper here. Maybe taking in some nice deep breaths as the body begins to relax. And you enjoy that frequency of love and appreciation. And that feeling of how lucky am I? And maybe with each breath you take in, on the exhale, you allow that bubble to get a little bit wider. Expand a little bit more until it's filling up your room. Filling your whole room with love. And perhaps you wish to see if you can allow that bubble to expand even further. Can you allow your whole home to be in this bubble of love? And how about the street that you're living on? Can you allow them to be inside this expanding bubble of love? And I'm going to give you a moment to see how wide you want your own energy bubble, this gratitude bubble, to go. Maybe your town, maybe your country, maybe you feel called to envelope the whole world in this bubble of love. And as before, if you lose connection to that feeling at any point, that's fine. Just bringing your awareness back to that heart space. And allow yourself to manifest it again. And I invite you now to give yourself a moment to be grateful for you. for everything you've had to do to get to this point in your life, for the decisions you've had to make, the actions you've had to take, for the things both enjoyable and not so enjoyable. Even if the path didn't end up as you expected. And I invite you to give yourself a moment of gratitude for showing up here this evening, for making this time for you in a world that often competes for our attention, our time, our energy. And I like to end my practices with 3 thank yous. I like to thank the teachers and the wisdom that have passed down this knowledge, not just Reiki, but energy medicine across the world. I like to thank myself for showing up. And the people that have shared the space with me. And finally, I like to thank my guides who support me in my Reiki sessions. But I invite you to consider, who do you want your thank yous to be devoted to? And whenever you feel like you have that answer, and it doesn't have to be right or perfect, allow your intuition to guide you. But taking a moment to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And I invite you now to notice the feeling of gravity on your body, that which is holding you down, stopping you fly away. I invite you to notice the feeling of contact between you and the chair or seat, bed beneath you. And I invite you to gently release your hands if you haven't already. And while your eyes are still closed, maybe gently rubbing either your arms or your legs or your hands, and beginning to shift your awareness into this physical world. And if you have worked with any guides tonight, obviously taking a moment to thank them if you haven't already. And ever so slowly as you can muster, I invite you to allow your eyelids to begin to flutter open. So lovely. For those of you watching on replay, this is where we're going to love and leave you as we open up the circle for sharing for anyone that wishes to share their experience. And I would love to hear from you. So if you feel like telling me anything about your experience, if you've watched on replay, please feel free to message me, email me, contact me, Facebook, Instagram, however you want to do that. Otherwise, I am sending you so much love, and I hope your heart chakra is feeling a little bit more balanced. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. There we go.